me. It's what's here when I get here that I don't like.
Already on the left?
Ready on the left.
Already on the firing line. We call this regular meeting of the Mexico City Council to order.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman West,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
First item on the agenda is approval of minutes, January 9th, 2017, regular session.
Move to approve.
Second.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman West,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
Yes.
Next item, a resolution, bill number 2017-05. A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an extension to the city's on-call engineering services agreement with Klingner and Associates PC, reading and passage. Mr. Slagle?
Yes, Your Honor. At the last meeting, we had a contract for extension for engineering services with Bartlett and West as well. Klinger Associates do a little bit of different services for us, and this is the same kind of contract. To cover what this is about, we will turn to Kenzie Russell.
As Bruce noted, it is the same kind of contract, just a different firm. We did a year ago select two on-call engineering services because each firm provides a little different area of expertise to us. Klingner has worked primarily on park-related projects, including the inspections of the dam at Teal Lake and Lakeview. They have done some geotechnical work for us to help seal the wet well on the Elmwood Lift Station and some other types of projects. And we did a review meeting with them, just as we did with Bartlett and West, found that the services they had provided were satisfactory to us, and they expressed interest in extending the contract under the terms for an additional year, and that's what we're presenting here with this resolution.
How much have their rates gone up from 16 to 17?
I didn't do a side-by-side comparison of the rates, but I don't believe that they went up very much. Chad, did you look at that?
I don't have that on here, so.
For Bartlett and West, it was a little less than 2% when I looked at theirs. I deal with them more than I do Klingner, and I just did not do that same look at Klingner's, but I would expect it to be in that same range.
Certainly wouldn't want it to be above 2%. Because basically, from what I understand, that was the inflation rate for 2016. So I would hope it wouldn't be above that.
Before any work's done, we request a task order, and so each task order is reviewed before anything goes forward. So if we were to get a task order in that seemed overpriced, we would just go out and open market it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Each project is negotiated separately, and so there's the option to accept or not to accept.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I move for reading of bill number 2017-05. Second.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman West,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
Yes. Bill number 2017-05, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an extension to the city's on-call engineering services agreement with Klingner and Associates PC, whereas the City of Mexico has a contract with Klingner and Associates PC for an on-call engineering services dated January 25th, 2016, and whereas the contract provided for a 3-year extension, and whereas the City of Mexico and Klingner and Associates PC have agreed to exercise the first 1-year option for the year 2017. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Mexico, Missouri as follows. Section 1, city manager is authorized to sign a one-year extension with Klingner and Associates PC for on-call engineering service. Section 2, the resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the time of its passage. Move for passage of bill number 2017-05.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Lush,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
Yes.
The next item is an ordinance, Bill Number 2017-06, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute an aviation project consultant supplemental agreement number 1 for construction services for the Mexico Municipal Memorial Airport apron expansion. 2 readings by title only and passage. Mr. Slagle?
Yes, Your Honor, we had contracted for services to perform some apron expansions and out at the airport. Under the current FAA standards, they needed to update some procedures, so it resulted in some additional costs here as well. And to cover those more in detail, we'll turn to Russell Runge.
Yes, as Bruce mentioned, Council, we've previously agreed to these changes, these items in March of 2016 with Crawford Murphy and Tilley for the engineering services, the apron expansion, hangar removal, and an update to the current FAA standard operating procedures. In December, I believe, Crawford Murphy and Tilley was made aware that FAA wanted to have their slightly more stringent requirements as opposed to MoDOT's requirements on this, so we had to redo it so that it would fit their specs, not just MoDOT specs. And that's thus the additional cost to make those changes and move forward with this. Staff recommends council proceed with 2 readings.
And you might want to note it's 90% funded. Is that right?
Correct. This is 90-10, right?
I move for first reading of bill number 2017-06.
Second.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Lush,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
Bill number 2017-06, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute an aviation project consultant supplemental agreement number 1 for construction services for the Mexico Memorial Airport apron expansion. I move for second reading by title only of bill number 2017-06.
Second.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Lush,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
Bill number 2017-06, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute an aviation project consultant supplemental agreement for number 1 for construction services for the Mexico Memorial Airport apron expansion. I move for passage of bill number 2017-06.
Second.
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Lush,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Nichols,
Okay, the next item under other business, staff report, purchase of dump truck for Public Works Department, Street Division. Mr. Slagle?
Yes, Your Honor, the current budget allows for the purchase to replace a dump truck, and to cover the details of the bidding and the amounts, we will turn to Kenzie Russell.
This was advertised and bid. We have a $50,000 budget. The low bid came from Lou Foos in the St. Louis area, O'Fallon, at $48,428 after trade-in of our older model, our 2008 dump truck. All of the bids met the requirements and the specifications that we had, which included the truck and chassis and dump body, along with the hydraulic controls for snowplow and for the dump. And so we're recommending the acceptance of the low bid from Lou Foos for the purchase of a 2017 Ram 5500 dump truck.
May I ask what the issue is or the problem with the old truck? Is it rusted out, or is it doesn't run, or what?
Kevin is not here but it's 8 years old. It does have the higher mileage on it. We are starting to see repairs with trucks that age. The hydraulic systems primarily wear and tear because they get used a lot. I don't know that we have it's not deadlined, we don't have a safety issue, it's not deadlined or broken down, but it's part of the replacement schedule we try to do with our equipment.
I think that would be something important for this council and future councils to know, because we are spending $50,000 here in a budgeted item, that the reason why this particular truck is no longer valid, not just because it's old.
Sure.
I mean, some vehicles will run longer than others.
Right, and we track those repair costs and those items. We can certainly provide that.
Yeah, I think that would be something that we really should see.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm not opposed to purchasing new vehicles, but
No,
there needs to be a need.
Sure, duly noted.
Yeah. I move we purchase the 2017 Ram 5500 truck for $48,428 from Lou Fuse.
Second.
Councilman Miller?
Yes.
Councilman West?
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Nichols?
The next item is the claims.
Move approved.
Councilman Miller?
Yes.
Councilman West?
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Nichols?
Yes.
Okay, we're down to comments, first by the council. Councilman Leisure.
Yes, I'd like to, and I guess another question for Kenzie. Sorry to bug you so much tonight, but I was wondering how we were doing with since we've had a couple storms here where we've seen our vehicles out and spreading salt and cinders and all kinds of stuff on the roads. How's our supplies holding up?
In the first ice storm, we used about 75 tons of salt. We start the season with about 180 tons on hand. That usually takes care, 120 tons or so will usually take care of an average season. So we try to have a little beyond what the average is when we have that extraordinary storm. Because we used 75 tons with that first ice storm back in December, we thought it wise to go ahead and see if we could locate and purchase some additional salt. We were able to locate some, and in fact, we were able to get it at a price that was less than what we had purchased salt for back in July, which is kind of an inverted price and season, because normally the winter season is the high price time. So we did purchase 50 ton after that storm. This past storm, because temperatures were different, we used about 25 to 30 ton on this past storm. The vendor agreed to hold his price, and so we went ahead and purchased an additional 50 ton. That will be salt that we will not purchase in July as we normally would. And so we went ahead and took advantage of supply and price and made that purchase. So we do have adequate salt supplies on hand for the rest of the winter and should have pretty much what we will need to carry us into next year. We'll have to purchase some additional, I'm sure, but it should be a minimal amount.
Of course, we don't know what the weather's going to be.
We do not know.
Thank you.
I don't have anything.
Fortunate enough to attend the chamber banquet Friday night. Excellent banquet. Jim Dye was the businessman of the year, basically. He's an asset to the community. Really appreciate him. I think Mrs. Graff stole the show that night. She talked for a long time and kept everybody's interest up. She did an outstanding job. That's all I've got.
Living the dream. Everything's perfect. Weather's great.
Says someone who just returned from sales meeting.
Yeah, sales meeting.
Your Honor, Councilman Lash had asked some information about some housing and where we at throughout 2016. And so I provided some of that information to you last week. But I thought it was important to point that out here this evening as well. And I have the breakdown numbers as far as individual units and so on, but I think what was important to note is that we had a total of 32 new housing units constructed in Mexico last year. And then there were actually 20 housing units that were demolished during 2016, and 18 of those units was by use of the city's demolition program, and 2 of those was private owner expense as well. So, in essence, added more units than was tore down, so that was a positive year as far as housing, as far as replacing and having better quality housing stock as we move forward, so. That's all I have.
Anything else? I had the opportunity on the holiday of presenting a proclamation for the council for the City of Mexico to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I also had the opportunity Friday at the banquet that Steve and Ron also attended to present a proclamation for the council and for the City of Mexico for Jim Dye. Both were, I think, well received. That's all the comments that I have this evening. We'll open it up for public comments. If you have a comment you'd like to make, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and try, if at all possible, to limit it to about 3 minutes. Seeing no one approaching the podium, I move for adjournment.
Second.
Councilman Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Lennon?
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Nagel?
Yes.